Carlos began selling Cutco in the Orland Park office in November of 2015. And that very next, we call them campaigns. So the spring campaign was a scholarship winner. In campaign one of 2016, was the number 11 Rising Star sales representative that year in 2016, and was promoted to sales manager running a Silver Cup district office in Orland Park. His personal sales year to date are over $200,000, just over, I think, squeaking over that 200K mark. Has run 3 branch offices, including a top 10 national performance in 2019. Carlos has earned trips to Cabo San Lucas, Punta Cana, Jamaica, Munich, Paris, and now Australia and New Zealand. He loves traveling, loves playing guitar, movie and music trivia, quality time with family, friends, and his girlfriend. I love Carlos Shoemaker. I've gotten a chance to spend a lot of time with him, both in the business and on many of those trips, if not, I think all of those trips that you just mentioned that you won. I was with you on as well. Incredibly generous with his time, with his energy, and really, truly not only knows a lot about the business, but is consistently continuing to be a student of the business and learn himself, and incredibly generous with his time to share. So to speak to you on closing like lists, give it up, Carlos Shoemaker. Take it away.
Thank you, Kyle. Good to see you. Hey, I'm really fired up. I love selling Cutco. If you're in my roundtable yesterday, I just get super excited doing it. And why I'm excited about teaching the like list is because it is 50% of your orders. So half of your orders are like lists. The other reason I think like lists are really special is because with like they're open-ended, right? Like with sets, home, that kind of stuff, they're great, but they're kind of limited. Like lists, you can run it up as much as you want. Also, you can offer your clients the most savings through like lists as well. And I think just like the merchanty side of me, some of my best like demo memories, client relationships, all started off with just like great like list experiences. And I think it's the best way that you can serve too. One of the things that I've really learned is the best negotiations are when everybody just leaves thrilled. Now, I know some of you on this call have been around for like quite a while. Some of you, like I got to be on my team, Mariah, James, Karina. You probably haven't done a demo yet because you went straight from training to the conference. And there's a lot of you in the middle, right? But I just want to commend you for being here. And regardless of where you're at, I'm excited to give you the heat today. The outcome of my message is to, wherever you're at, just give you tactical practices to build your confidence to close more often, but also to build your conviction that people can buy a lot of Cutco and that they're thrilled to do so, because that has been my experience over the last 5.5 years. So here's what I'm going to cover. First is just the basics, right? So if you just left training, you've been on for a week and want a little bit of a review, but also if you've been around for a while, I'll sprinkle some extra little sauce in there. And then I'm going to go over 2.0. I'm going to give you some advanced tips. And then I'm going to go over 3.0 and just melt your face off. You cool with that? So when I get there, by the way, some of you might be a little overwhelmed. Wherever you're at, what I want you to take from my message is just what you can see yourself utilizing. I'm going to give you enough information that you can use between now and all the way through SC2 push and the rest of your summer. And then I'll finish up with some final thoughts. You ready to do this? All right, let's jump in. I got handouts that I'm going to share. I'm going to walk you through them first, just because I want to make sure that you hear how I walk through them. And more important than the key phrases that I'm going to give you is just the philosophies that I'm going to explain, because it's kind of like singing. If you don't really know how to say, like read music, you see like the sheet music, right? But for me, like I didn't read sheet music when I was a kid, right? So for me, I just heard someone sing it. I'm like, oh, that's the flow. That's how it's supposed to sound. So that's what I really want to give you. Here's the flow. So let's just start off simple. I'm going to screen share a couple different things as if I was on a demo. But first, I think when it comes to like lists in general, one big tip that I can have you start off with is just have goals. But again, I'm going to share this document with you. Having goals is really important, no matter where you're at in the business, because goals are what create urgency. People buy Cutco because it rocks, but people buy Cutco today because of the urgency that you create. And the goals is a really good way to do that. I also think you want to make sure you're going one step at a time, right? I had a rep 2 weeks ago that someone's deciding on a like a 5-piece special. And they're like, well, I think they just want to get the petite carver. And I said, hey, ask if you can just show all the options for practice. You don't want to get comfortable dropping them down. She called me 5 minutes later. She's like, Carlos, they're going to the buy 3, get 1 free. So that's a big tip is you want to make sure not skipping any steps, go one step at a time. I think some key phrasing that I can really give you that you can benefit from. First thing is when you're showing videos, I love to ask, isn't that cool? See how easy that is. Isn't that awesome? These are just kind of like mini closes that you can do throughout the demo. And you're hearing yes, 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 yes. So then by the time when you're trying to close later on, they're not going to say they're not going to use it because they've already told you that they will. Does that make sense? Also, has anyone here ever not been able, like you ask for 5 pieces and they only give you like 2 or 3? They're like, that's it. Right? You've been there. I've been there too. Right? So I think one great question that you ask, like, hey, can I make a suggestion? They'll say yes. And then again, I'm going to share this with you. These are the types of knives that I want to make sure I get on a like list. Even my mom, who hates to cook, absolutely hates it. She loves Cutco. She started off with just a couple, but now she's got like the homie, right? But I think what's really important is to have a meat knife, a chopping knife, an everyday knife, like a utility one, like the trimmer, something heavy duty. And then just like either their favorite, or you can do like a his and hers, a special occasion type knife, something like that. Right. I think what's important for you to understand, even just in like the Homemaker and Signature, there's knives that they'll use every single day. There's knives that they'll use like maybe like once a week, and knives that they'll use like monthly. But over a lifetime, you want to have all the tools in the toolbox. Another question I like to ask is, would you prefer a discount or free stuff? And then if they say a discount, give the cheapest knife for free, or here's a little bit of extra sauce. Whatever their favorite knife is for free, if it's reasonable with the deal, give their favorite knife for free. They love to hear it. Miss Jones, you get those 4 pieces and that cheese knife that you liked. Since you love that so much, I'll just toss that in for free for you. Like, that's awesome. And then I always end on value, right? So I'll give the pricing for the option, but you never end on price, always end on what they're getting, right? So for an example of what a pricing might look like, this is how you might do pricing a little bit differently. This is how I do them for like this. I see the retail of everything, what their special is today, how much you're saving, the monthly, and then I'll say, and you get the trimmer, petite carver, petite chef, petite santoku, and you get the boning knife for free. Does that sound good? Ask confidence. Crazy. I'm nodding. What are all 88 of you doing? No, crazy, right? Does that sound good? That's my favorite way to ask for the order. Even if it's like a $9,000 order, I'm like, does that sound good? You're like, yeah, let's do it. Cool. The last one that I'll give you is with, with urgency and having goals. I love telling this story. I have a client, Janet, if you're in my round team, if I heard this, I have a client, Janet McCarthy. She owned everything Cutco. And some people say they have everything and it's like an essential set. She actually had everything though. She had like the ultimate set with steak knives, all the cookware, all the flatware. She had the garden tools, the K-bars. Don't know why. She's like 70, but she had them, right? So it was my last day to try to win the trip to Cabo. I walk in, I'm like, what am I going to do? But I was just sharing my goals hard. I wore a sombrero on all my demos. I had a picture of the resort. I'm like, Miss Jones, I want to be right here on the beach, right? Hey, Miss Jones, seriously. Like my goal is to sell you everything in the book. I just hope that you like me and Cutco enough to introduce me to some friends so I can hit that appointment goal of 40 demos. She goes, Carlos, how far away are you from your goal? And I said 1,700. And she bought 1,800 worth of gifts. None of it was for her. So your goals matter. Enroll people. Have goals that you're purposeful about. Use the inspiring vision that we just came up with. Tie that into your demos, folks. Here's the last little extra bit of secret sauce for you. I love to say this to customers. If I can tell they're on the fence about something, they're so close. I'm like, hey, Miss Jones, I'm going to ask if you're family and say yes. Are you family? Yes. Great answer. We can give you the family discount. Right? People need a reason to give a discount. People don't want to just be given it. They want to be able to earn it. So that's why I like having your goals and having the family discount. Sound cool? Cool. Here's a 2.0 version. I'm going to move fast, so rewatch the recording because I'm going to make sure I get all the stuff out to you. I think the 2.0 version is when you get their 5 favorite pieces, But then after, you don't stop there. You go through all the gifts and accessories, go through everything. I also recommend just taking notes on what they say that they like. If you notice, like, oh, that tomato thing's awesome, write it down. Oh, that watermelon, right? If they have a frustration, I always dig into it. They're like, oh, God, that looks great. I hate pineapples. I hate cutting them. I'm like, oh, tell me about it. And they're like, oh, it's the worst. They're just I'm like, oh, tell me more. Like, it sucks. It's messy. I love bringing up those problems because then it's a lot easier to close, right? Because you're uncovering the needs. Another tip: ask your manager how to use the order advisor. If I have time at the end, or you know what, I actually probably do right now. Go ahead and use the order advisor. Some of you might not know this is a thing. Some of you have been using this for a while, probably. I just put like a mock-up like list in here, right? 5 knives, can opener, shears, 4-piece cutlery care set. There's this little thing right here called an order advisor. I hit that. I hit from cart. I hit optimize. And then you can just type in a % savings to make your deals as easy as possible. So let's say it's like a family member, Cutco owner, someone will hook up with a sick deal. I can just put in 20% savings, optimize. And what's cool is it's going to do the things that save them the most, but don't cost you the most CPO. Does that make sense? So it automatically figures out the math for you. Then I just hit update cart and then just hit no for update cart only. If you hit yes, it'll charge you like a couple bucks to like make the exact 20%. So I just do update cart only. And then bam, I got my easy peasy deal done for me. Make sense? Okay, cool. I just saw some minds blown. Yes, that's been in there the whole time. You can use that as much as you want. All right. Here's my last little piece of advice, and I'm going to have this in the handout, is for the 2.0 version, you want to start really gassing them up about the accessories and the gifts, but you don't want to wait until like the end because then you're too late. Does that make sense? So for me, what I always show all of my clients is, man, I miss doing demos so bad. What I show my clients is this, and this is in the handout. Now, if you're brand new, you can use this. But what I like to say is, hey, Miss Jones, Cutco is awesome. You can buy sets or pieces. We have tons of accessories and gifts. And then I jump right back into where I was at in the demo. So if you're brand new, but you want to start using that, you don't have to sell that stuff too much in the beginning. You just want to let them know that it's available for them. Does that make sense? Because now they're thinking bigger. It's not just about knives, but it's about their entire kitchen, right? That's why also if you start higher, you'll finish higher. So some key phrasing that I like for the 2.0 version of this, everyone, is I love to ask kitchen rapport questions. Hey, what meats do you do? I write it down. Hey, what veggies do you chop? I write it down. What's your favorite meal? Like, what do you just kill it at? I write it down. What's the hardest thing to cut in your kitchen? And I write it down. The more educated you can be on Cutco on your end, and then their needs, it's much easier to meet in the middle. Does that make sense? So for me, also have to, like to, love to, that's a great question. Right? Also, before page 6, I like to ask the question, do you sometimes, maybe every once in a while, peel a potato or an apple? Do you sometimes maybe cut a tomato? Do you every once in a while make a sandwich? Do you sometimes cut meat? Do you every once in a while get things out of jars? Do you sometimes chop something? Do you every once in a while cut a melon? Do you sometimes cut bread or cake? Do you every once in a while barbecue? And what do you think they say to all those? Yeah, sometimes. And I say sometimes because if I ask my mom, do you cut watermelon? She's like, not really, like sometimes. But it's like, do you sometimes? I'm like, yeah, sometimes. They just confirmed yes for every single piece in the Homemaker before I even shown it to them. So what's the perfect set for them? At least the Homemaker. And then on the 3.0 version, I'll show you how to do an options close. What I like to do with all the gifts and the fun stuff is I like to show 2 deals at once. I'll be like, hey, Miss Jones, I'll show you with the bells and whistles, and then I'll show you with just your favorites, right? So I have 2 separate deals. I'll have one with their favorites, and then one with the gifts and accessories. I'll show them both the options, and then I'll just ask which one works better for you. Sound cool? Cool. It's called an options close, and they'll just pick one, right? All right, here's All right, I'm about to melt your face off. So when it comes to packages, I remember being like terrified to sell the cookware, the flatware. I felt like I just wasn't educated enough. I didn't really get it. I was too scared to pitch it. I'm about to make it so unbelievably simple for you. I'm going to give you all the key phrasing that you need. I'm going to put this in the chat once I'm done. But what's important for you all to do is to think over a lifetime, right? Cutco's unbelievable. I don't know about you, but in my ideal world, everybody owns Cutco pots and pans, forks and spoons and knives. Just that way they don't ever have to buy knives ever again. I love to ask Miss Jones, hey, Miss Jones, what would it feel like to never have to buy another knife, fork or spoon or pot or pan for the rest of your life? And I just let it sit for a second. They're just like, that'd be awesome. I'm like, great. And then I show them the Cutco kitchen brochure. So the phrasing is in here on how to talk about it. You say, hey, Miss Jones, most of my customers' long-term vision of the Cutco Dream Kitchen. Some people get it all at once. Most people get it over time. It's all one and done, best in class, guaranteed forever. Right? You pick out your set of knives, our Forever Flatware, which is our most discounted item, and your set of cookware. The reason I have this highlighted is if someone's a Cutco owner, you say, which is the best stuff that we make. Most of my customers that have the cookware and the knives like the cookware better than the knives. Don't say that to like a new Cutco customer because they'll be like, okay, just get the cookware. But if someone has Cutco already, I love saying that line because, woo, I need to see that stuff. And then I put this in blue. You got to have confidence when you say this. When I show the kitchen, I say, Miss Jones, it's very, very, very expensive. It is very expensive, but you get what you pay for. That's why I'm happy to show it. Some people get it all at once. Some people build up to it over time. Oh, some people get it all at once because it's a great deal. Most build up to it over time. Let's jump into the knives first. And then you go right into the knives, right? Because then by the end, when I show the cookware, I tell them it's very expensive. It's very expensive, but you get what you pay for. It's why I'm happy to show it. The knives it's very expensive, and then by the end, I'm like, all right, Miss Jones, I'm gonna write the deal. It's very, and they're like, expensive. We get it. It's expensive. And I'm like, but, and they're like, we get what we pay for. So then when I'm showing like $8,000, they're just like, yeah, you said it'd be expensive. Set that big price expectation. All right. I got to wrap up here. I only got a couple minutes. So let me show you this last document here. Here's how you give package deals. I have in here how to get them on the like list. You just show them all the cookware, say which set fits your needs the best. You show them the flatware, ask if they want to add it onto their list. And then let me walk you through how I do my package pricing. I'm going to share this with all of you. Here's the melt your face off info. I do 4 options. It takes me like some time to do the math, so I just simplified it for you here. I don't know if you know this. All the sets have a ridiculous built-in discount. My brother tells me this. He's like, dude, if I sold Cutco, I would not give a discount because Cutco is the deal. It's that good. This built-in discount, it lasts forever. But let's say I want to do like cookware, flatware, and the knives, right? Yeah, I'll share this. I'll put them in the chat and then I'll email it too. I like to do the everything with the knives, cookware, flatware. I do just the knives and cookware, just the knives and flatware, and then just the knives. So I did this with a client, Steve Giannone. I'd never met him before. He was a recommendation of a recommendation. I tied him into my goals. Here's a good example. This is like if I did the signature with steak knives, the cookware, the flatware. The formulas are in here. And what was so funny was he had a galley set. I showed him if he did the Cutco kitchen, if he did the knives and the cookware, the knives and the flatware, and then just the ultimate upgrade. I'd never sold an ultimate upgrade at this point either, so I was kind of crap my pants. And I just showed him all the options. And I said, hey, which one fits your needs? Like which one works best for you? And I'll never forget hearing this for the rest of my life. He goes, we'll just go with the ultimate upgrade. And it was like a $2,000 order. Right? I'll just go with the 2,000. And he was not loaded at all. He's like, yeah, that one just makes the most sense. Because I'm starting so high, I can finish high. We're cleaning up. This is like a 3-hour appointment. They made me dinner and everything. We're cleaning up. We're hanging out. And then the husband looks at the wife and he's like, if we get that cookware, it is a better deal. We're probably going to get it later anyway. Carlos, just throw the cookware on there too. It was like a $4,000 order. I'm like, you're going to love it. 2 weeks later, he got the flatware. Folks, you can do this, right? You can do this. I have the formulas, everything in here that you need is in here, everyone. You can actually start doing this today. I paid thousands of dollars for this info as soon as I started implementing it. what you'll know is it's actually easy to sell packages. Just if you show it to X amount of people, Y are going to buy it. Does that make sense? Everybody doesn't spend $4, $5, $6, $7, $8,000, but it's so much easier to sell $1, $2, and $3,000. But also, if you show to 20 people those bigger orders, how many packages do you think you'll sell? At least one, probably 4 to 5. And then what's going to happen to your confidence? You're going to start doing it over and over and over and over again. So here's my final thoughts in closing. First is practice now. I'm going to put all these in the chat once I'm done. Use these now wherever you're at. If you're brand new and you're just like, oh, right, just go with 1.0. If you got some experience, you want to up your game, go to 2.0. If you've been around for a while, if you're just like, dude, I just want to expedite my learning curve, bend it now, go to 3.0. Start using these package deals. Share your goals for urgency. Really qualify your recommendations. Ask, who do you know would buy everything in the book? Who do you know that just wants to finish out their kitchen? Who do you know that loves cooking? Who do you know really appreciates quality? And then here's my last little sprinkle of a tip. I always tell my customers for stuff that they don't get, I say, hey, Ms. Jones, my 2 biggest specials of the year are the 2nd through the 4th week of July and right after the new year. Right? Why? That's SC2 and the January push. Sound cool? So use it, folks. Use it. Seriously, start using the package deals. I put in here all the phrasing on how to get them open to seeing all that stuff. And then worst case scenario, you keep it on the like list, and then you can call them SC2 January when sales come out. And then you don't just have customers, but you have clients for life. Thanks, everyone.
Carlos, that was fantastic. Lots of love in the chat. Please do put all of those handouts right into the chat. Email them to Janet the Region, and we can get those also emailed to everyone in case anybody misses it in the chat or forgets to grab it. So thank you, Carlos. That was fantastic. A couple of things I'll say on this. One is, don't feel like you have to add everything right away like Carlos was saying. Starting with the 1.0 version is 100% fine. But the second thing is, be okay with not being great at some of this stuff right away. All right. Making mistakes and kind of screwing it up. By the way, a lot of times you completely screwing it up just because you're showing it to a certain customer, they're going to get it. Okay. But not showing it at all, there's a 0% chance that they're going to get it. Okay. And then along with that is be okay with hearing no on this stuff. Okay. If you're asking for bigger orders, or asking for some of those package deals, you're going to hear no a lot. In fact, the people that hear no the most are actually the ones that sell the most of these packages and bigger sets because they're asking for it every time. Okay. So again, don't feel like you have to add it all right away. Implement a couple of nuggets on your demos today. But for those of you that do want to dive all in and be okay with having a little bit of a learning curve with it. Okay. And then realize that there's lots of people that can help you. Your manager for sure being number one there. All right. Thank you, Carlos.